Hi everyone, Happy New Year and welcome to a new video. Today I'll be flying on the Emirates Business Class from Dubai to Melbourne, a non-stop 13-hour journey. Now, the Dubai International Airport is one of the busiest airports in the world, but the experience can feel very different depending on how you're flying. From the check-in to the security, everything is designed to minimize friction on long-haul journeys like this. When you're about to spend 13 hours in the air, that efficiency makes a noticeable difference even before the flight begins. I immigrated through Concourse B, so I make my way to the train to enter Concourse A. The Dubai Concourse A is also home to Emirates' flagship business class and first class lounge. Unfortunately, due to time constraint on this connection, I was not able to visit the lounge. Well, this is our aircraft for today, the Airbus A380-800. Emirates is the largest operator of this aircraft and continues to preserve it as its flagship aircraft for long-haul routes. Again, this is something I love, an empty aero bridge. Well, as I previously mentioned, I'm flying business and I'm seated in 25 Alpha. This is the Emirates business class cabin on the Airbus A380. The cabin is laid out in a 1-to-1 configuration, which means every seat has direct aisle access. Each seat comes with a large side console which provides storage for personal items such as headphones, a laptop, or smaller bags. There is also a dedicated table and multiple compartments around the seat which I will explore in the video, making it easier to keep essentials within reach throughout the entire flight. In addition to the main storage around the seat, the footwell can also be used for extra storage if needed. It is large enough to accommodate a small backpack or personal items during the flight. Emirates provides basic comfort amenities in the business class, including slippers, an eye mask, and the loungewear. These are simple but practical additions, especially on an overnight flight where rest is a priority. They're easy to access at the seat and useful once cabin lights are dimmed. The quality of the headphones provided is pretty decent. They do offer noise cancellation up to some extent and have huge Emirates branding on them. With boarding complete, the crew began the safety demonstration, which on Emirates is presented through a pre-recorded video. It is a standard but a well-produced presentation, and it marks the transition from boarding to the start of the flight. Following the safety video, Emirates played a short presentation highlighting its in-flight entertainment system. The Emirates in-flight entertainment system has consistently been regarded as one of the strongest entertainment platforms in commercial aviation. The video particularly highlights different cultures from all around the world. And on long-haul routes such as this, with an extensive library of films, television programming and music, the system is clearly designed to support flights where passengers may spend uninterrupted hours on board. We ended up taxiing for quite some time, long enough that I briefly forgot why we were taxiing in the first place. Eventually, we made our way to the departure runway here at Dubai International Airport. For this flight, we departed from one of Dubai's primary long-run runways, used extensively for wide-body operations such as the Airbus A380. At this point, the cabin crew had completed their final checks, and the aircraft was prepared for departure. This is always a moment where everything comes together: the aircraft, the crew, and the flight plan before a long head journey. At this point, I'll leave the narration aside and let you enjoy the takeoff along with views of Dubai as we climb out. Once airborne, the focus on an overnight long-haul flight quickly shifts to rest. Emirates provides a full-size comforter in business class which is sealed and presented at the seat before departure. The comforter is generously sized and offers good coverage, which makes a noticeable difference when the cabin pressure drops later in the flight. Combined with lie-flat seat, the setup is clearly designed to support several hours of uninterrupted sleep. Once the seat is fully set up and service begins, you start to notice how deliberately the cabin has been designed, with the dinner table popping out easily right from the side. The color contrast throughout the entire cabin is super consistent. The first course I opted for was a fresh fruit platter. The presentation is clean and understated, with good variety of fruits that feel carefully selected rather than simply assembled. The fruits were noticeably fresh, well ripened, and served at the right temperature, which is something that often gets overlooked in in-flight dining. It's a simple dish, but one that's executed properly, and it sets a positive tone for the rest of the service. On the Emirates A380 Business Class, even when the seat is fully flat, there is a generous amount of space to move your legs, which reduces the boxed-in feeling that can be an issue on some long-haul business class products offered by other airlines. Now, coming down to one of the most important prospects of in-flight dining, the dinner table. From a design perspective, the wood grain finish complements the surrounding materials, contributing to a premium and understated aesthetic rather than purely a functional one. For the starters, I opted for the pork dumplings. The presentation is simple and restrained, but the focus here is clearly on execution rather than appearance. The portion size was appropriate for the long-haul dining, satisfying without feeling overly heavy, which works well if you're planning to rest shortly afterwards. The seat controls are extensive and immediately give the impression that the seat is designed to be adjusted rather than endured. All of the positions are clearly labeled with separate presets for lounging, dining, and sleeping. The controls are intuitive to use and responsive, which allows you to fine tune your position without needing assistance from the crew. Power and connectivity are well covered in the Emirates A380 Business Class. Each seat is equipped with a universal power outlet, along with two USB charging ports that are easily accessible from the seated position. This setup allows you to charge multiple devices simultaneously, whether it's a laptop, a phone, or a smaller accessory during the flight. The placement is practical and unobstructed, which means cables don't interfere with the seat or table when they are in use. One of the Emirates' most recognizable features in the business class and the first class is this tablet controller, which acts as a secondary interface for both the in-flight entertainment system and the seat. It allows you to browse content, control playback, and adjust seat positions without needing to touch the main screen. In this practice, this is particularly useful when the seat is in bed mode, as it keeps all the key functions within the easy reach. Just above the minibar set, Emirates has incorporated a dedicated storage shelf, which is well lit and easily accessible from the seated position. The lighting here is particularly useful during night flights, allowing you to find personal items without turning on the overhead lights or disturbing the cabin. This space works well for everyday essentials like your boarding pass, amenity kit, passport, or small personal items you want within the reach. It keeps the seat area organized and uncluttered, especially when the table is in use or the seat is up for sleeping. Again, it was past bedtime, but the crew was generous enough to serve me with a serving of some of the best smoked warm nuts I've ever had at 40,000 feet in the air. With the seat fully extended, the bed transforms into a lie flat bed. The bedding is well sized, neatly fitted, and the overall layout feels more like a private sleeping space than an aircraft seat. There's enough room to turn comfortably and enough length to stretch out without feeling restricted on the seat. One area where Emirates has consistently set the benchmark is its in-flight entertainment system. The display is large, sharp, and easy to navigate, with a layout that feels intuitive rather than cluttered. Content selection is extensive, covering a wide range of movies, television series, documentaries, and music, with strong representation across different languages and regions. The system is super responsive with minimal lag, and switching between the content, flight information, and the seat controls is absolutely seamless. On this flight, the aircraft was relatively empty, which gave me the opportunity to experience one of the middle row seats in the business class. The staggered design layout and high partitions provide a good level of separation, meaning you don't feel exposed or crowded even without a window besides you. In terms of privacy, the middle seat still offers a strong sense of personal space, especially once the seat is reclined or set up for sleeping. With that said, the window seat does not naturally feel more enclosed, with the additional benefit of wall-side privacy and external views. The middle seat trades that visual privacy for a more open, central feel, which some passengers may prefer, particularly on a quieter flight like this. Personally, I tend to gravitate more towards horror and classic films, and Emirates does a good job of catering to that niche preferences like those. Seeing titles like these available mid-flight tell you the category is not curated purely around what's new or popular, but also around timeless cinema. Post a good nap, waking up mid-flight the cabin still felt composed and unhurried, with the subdued lighting that makes the transition from sleep feel natural rather than abrupt. It is in these moments like these that the Emirates long-haul experience really comes together. And then I spent an eternity playing with the blinds on my windows. High above the clouds, this is where the aircraft stops feeling like an aircraft. The onboard lounge is more than a feature. It is a space designed for movement, conversation, and pause. Soft lighting, curved surfaces, and a calm atmosphere create an environment that feels intentionally removed from the cabin. It is a place to stretch your legs, change your perspective, and momentarily step out of your seat, something that matters on a flight of this length. The bar itself is well stocked and thoughtfully laid out, encouraging a more social, relaxed rhythm to this journey. There is no rush over here, no sense of altitude, just a quiet reminder that long haul premium travel does not have to feel static. It is in moments like these, away from the seat and away from the crowd, that define why the A380 experience with Emirates remains unmatched. Midway through the flight, I decided to have a look on the onboard Wi Fi, and coincidentally, this was during the period of some mild turbulence. Connectivity on long haul flights can be inconsistent, particularly when conditions aren't smooth. However, despite of the turbulence, the Wi Fi on this flight remained stable and good enough for basic tasks. To finish, I went with the raspberry macarons. They were light, well balanced, and noticeably fresh, with a filling that was not overly sweet. It is a small detail, but desserts like these add a sense of refinement to the overall dining experience. In addition to the main touchscreen and the tablet controller, Emirates also includes a dedicated remote control built directly into the seat. It is positioned within easy reach and pops out with the touch of a button, which means you can control the in-flight entertainment system without leaning forward or adjusting your seat. The buttons are clearly laid out and responsive, making it practical for basic navigation, volume control, and playback, especially when the seat is in the bed mode. With a couple of hours left for landing, it was time for the final meal service. Before arrival, a final meal was served. This was more substantial service with a combination of warm dishes, fresh elements, and bread, designed to gently ease you back into the day. The tray includes a selection of Middle Eastern inspired mise, featuring a mix of cooked and fresh components, vegetables that provide both flavor and variety. To finish the meal service, the dessert was served, an orange saffron pineapple cake. Visually, it's clean and understated with soft layers and a light glaze that immediately signals freshness. The sponge is airy and well balanced, carrying the gentle citrus notes from the orange, while the saffron adds a subtle warmth. The pineapple brings in the mild acidity, cutting through the creaminess and keeping the dessert light. After just over 13 hours in the air, we begin our descent into Melbourne. The cabin settles, the light adjusts, and there is a quiet sense of arrival. Finally, after spending over 13 hours on board the Emirates A380 in business class, here is the honest verdict. This is not the newest business class product in the sky, and Emirates doesn't pretend that it is. But whatever they do deliver is something special and more consistent. Space, comfort, and an experience that simply works. The seat itself is wide, well padded, and extremely comfortable, especially for a long-haul sector flight like this. Dining on board was consistently strong, from the freshness of the flute batter to the dumplings, the Arabic meze, and the final dessert. Nothing felt rushed, and service throughout the flight was polished, attentive, and professional. The Emirates Business Class on the A380 isn't about chasing trends or living a flashy life. It is about the reliability and the sense of comfort and scale that money buys you. The fundamentals are done extremely well. If you value space, consistency, and a relaxed long-haul experience, this remains one of the most safest and enjoyable ways to fly. Let me know in the comments if you would fly this. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll be back with a new video.